Hello everybody, it's been a long time coming, but welcome back to the Opinion Corner. This is a series where I sit in front of a mic and talk about whatever's on my mind today. So, it's finally time to talk about the new courses in Wave 4 of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Booster Course Pass. And honestly, I'm a big fan of this wave. A lot of the tracks look very good visually, a lot of the tracks feel very fun to play. Some of them I was actually impressed with some of the strats and tech Nintendo let us get away with, and they even removed an invisible wall in Berlin byways in order to let us have more fun, which is kind of unheard of from the Mario Kart 8 development team. But there's so much I want to talk about. There's so much to talk about because this update in general has shaken up so many different parts of the game, the community. So let's talk about it. So these videos are going to be sectioned. I'm going to talk about the tracks first, and then I'm going to talk about the characters and then the buffs. Alright, so first let's talk about Tour Amsterdam Drift. This is the first track in the Fruit Cup, and it kind of serves its purpose to be the tour track that kind of sets the mood. Very simple in layout, very simple in concept. There's not too many gimmicks that we haven't seen already. You start off with this glider section, and then you go through the first lap. You start the second lap, you go underwater. There's a lot of cool sections there. And then you go through the final lap, go backwards for a bit, and then get to the nice flower garden before returning back to the starting point. I feel like the track went a little too simple, personally. I think lap 1 was nice. I think a lot of the flexibility you can have in 150 and 200cc with the way you can play the field section with all the grass. I think that's pretty cool. But the thing is that all 3 laps feel very short. And there's not too much to keep you entertained throughout the whole track. Especially in the second lap, where I felt like that showed the most. The underwater section felt very empty, and like it was cool being in the river and being able to like jump up on the boats and then trick off of that. I thought that was pretty cool, but then that's kind of just it. There's a couple wind vents and stuff you can trick just so you're not driving in a straight line the whole way through. And there's a couple dips, but visually there's not really much to see. The cement color kind of just stood out because of how bland that entire area was. I wish it was a little bit more interesting. I would have said maybe add more obstacles, but that straightaway was already pretty narrow, probably because, you know, they wanted to keep this theme of it being that riverbank section. So I get not wanting to like overcrowd that area, but maybe visually they could have done a little more to spice up the visuals, but overall, pretty simple, pretty inoffensive. I liked it a good amount. I think it's like a solid 7. Some parts are a little weird to drive on, but I'd play the track again. It's, you know, pretty neat. Next up is GBA Riverside Park. And just like all the other GBA courses, this one got a huge glow up. We got a new enemy type being the Patooey. I mentioned this a bit already in my first impressions video, and there's not really much that I can say now that hasn't already been said there. But just for like a brief explanation, you throw a shell, they drop the item they're holding, and they kind of die at the end. I'm not really sure what happens there. Another pretty short track, honestly. They started off with 2 short tracks for the Fruit Cup, which maybe it's just a me thing, and Riverside Park definitely felt like it came from a Mushroom Cup course. Again, it's a simple, short, sweet layout. It does a lot of pretty fun things. The mud cut is a lot of fun to take with if you have a shroom to take it. The cave section with the bridge where they had the little loop. That part looks super sick. Honestly, I feel like this track just got a visual glow up, and that itself was really sick to see, but at the same time, like gameplay-wise, I think Lakeside Park would have been cooler. So overall, I liked it. I like the visuals. I like the way it plays. You know, it's not, again, just like Amsterdam Drift, it has like the same pros and cons in the sense where it's like, it's fun, it's simple, it's inoffensive, but I wish there was a little more, you know? So that's why I think I'm going to give Riverside Park a 7 out of 10 as well. Third up, Wii DK Summit. Now, I was interested to see how this was going to play because personally, I'm a Mario Kart Wii player, so I wanted to see how this would play compared to Tour, because they were like the proportions are so different in Tour, and then in Wii there's all this tech that you can do on the course. DK Summit is a very technical track to play on, and I wanted to see how all of that experience would translate into this course. And I was genuinely surprised to see that most of it was pretty much intact. They obviously didn't keep the part where you ride on the side ramps, but everything else from the turn skips to the double cut, they kept the double cut, hello? And it's so much easier to do. The lining is a little different, and the timing and the position and everything, but it's back. I was not, if anything, that was like the one thing I wasn't expecting to come back, but it's here. Shortcut-wise, I think this track is super fun to play around. However, I had a couple issues with how narrow and dense it felt. Because like it's a tour port, I kind of expected it, but it felt very small, especially if you overshoot the double cut. It is very easy to do that. There's so many ways that taking that can go wrong, and I think it kind of just like emphasized how small the course felt, at least to me. And I think personally they made the Shy Guy cycles easier, so that was really appreciated. I always found those kind of difficult when I played the original Wii version. Yeah, personally, I think this track is going to be a very fun course to play online. I think this is a great Wi-Fi track with how crazy and unpredictable the double cut is. The one thing I'm not a big fan of is time trialing it. The coin route, the time trial path for it is kind of annoying. I don't know if this is just like a me thing, but overall, fun Wi-Fi track. I guess I'll just have to get used to it on time trials. Who knows, maybe I'll change my opinion on it as the waves go on and as more strats get developed for the course. We will see. But for a track that I was mostly anticipating to be added to the pass, I am very happy with what we got. Honestly, a solid 8 out of 10 from me. And lastly, for the Tour Cup at least, we got Yoshi Island. Some people classify it as a tour track, some people don't. I'm gonna classify it as a tour track for simplicity's sake because, well, one, there was the data mine, and two, they said, you know, oh, we're only adding past Mario Kart courses, so I guess by past they mean like, oh, we also mean like in development. Courses in development are technically in the past. So we will put these courses that are from the past in development into the past. But yeah, that doesn't really matter right now because, oh my god, this track looks sick. The layout's pretty fun to see. All of the references and the eye candy in this course are really fun. They did the sound effect treatment and changed the coins just like in Animal Crossing and Hyrule Circuit. Just such an awesome touch. I'm really glad they went all out with this course. It looks really good. I love the gimmicks that they introduce, which is the question cloud. I forget what it's called in actual Yoshi's Island, but by hitting it, I don't know if you can hit it with a shell and it works. That would be really cool if it did work. I tried labbing it. I couldn't get it. Skill issue. But yeah, by hitting that, you open up this little staircase that takes the path that the grass cut would do if you had a shroom, and it does that for you. No shroom required. You get like a little ramp, and then you get to see the end section of the Yoshi's Island levels, further adding on to all the cool little references to the original game that they put in this course. I think this is such a cool addition, both as a gimmick and as like a competitive thing, because it adds this level of strategy where if you're like in second or something and you want to take the cut, you have to be like, okay, is the person in first already on the floor and they won't be able to take the cut and I'll be saving time instead to catch up? Or if I hit them, this will also help them at the same time because the bridge activates for everyone on the field. There's this level of gameplay that can be added to just by adding that one little gimmick, and I think that's super sick, especially because it happens at the end. It could be a huge game changer, a huge comeback mechanic. Interested to see where those elements of the course come in competitively, and even as a casual course, it's very fun to drive, especially with all the references. I feel like those are always cool to see. I think this is probably the best in terms of the courses that are based off of something, because, you know, Animal Crossing was pretty simple. Hyrule Circuit, they have some cool shroomless cuts that are fun to take, but at the same time are also super similar in like shortness, and I feel like they didn't really take advantage of the castle like I would have hoped they would, because it was kind of like in 3DS Mario Circuit where you have the castle, you just do one spiral up and then you get out of the castle. I wish they did more with the castle, maybe called it like Princess Peach's Castle or something. I don't know, maybe that's like a track for another day or another game. But yeah, I think considering Animal Crossing and Hyrule Circuit, I think Yoshi's Island does the best at translating all of these fun little references into a good looking and engaging course. Still a bit simple. I don't know, because it's like, do I want to give this an 8.5 or do I want to give this a 9? You know what? First impressions, I'll give it a 9. if I want to change that, I can, you know, make a full video where it's like, oh, I'm gonna rank all 6 courses and make like a tier list video or something. I don't know. I can always change my mind later, just like Mushroom Gorge. So for now, 9 out of 10. Really like what they did with this one. All right, next up, we can move on to the Boomerang Cup, which takes us to our 3rd tour track. And our 2nd city track of the path, or the wave. There's a lot more tour tracks to come. Bangkok Rush. This one, I think, does the racetrack city to course idea a lot better than Amsterdam Drift. I was not sure how to feel about this one because I've only played this once in tour and it really didn't stand out to me. But I guess mixing all of the different layouts helped this course a lot in terms of variety. For example, you get to go through this market section on lap 2. In lap 3, there is this spiral section that takes you out onto these little tarps, and you can trick off of the roofs just like a mushroom. So you can do some cool little tricks and tech there. For laps 1 and 3, you can go on this subway route, and there's a bunch of different exits that you can take. Lots of versatility and flexibility with how you can handle that part of the course. Just the routing and the ideas that they presented in this course are super fun. Some parts felt a little weird to drive on, like there's the part after the boats in lap 1 where you go up the board to ride on the tarps. Then when you exit out, getting out of that section is a little weird. Maybe that's just another thing that will come from experience and just from playing the tracks more as more strategies get developed. Who knows? But yeah, other than those slight nitpicks in how the course you know, throws you out of these things, I'm not sure if that's like a tour-specific design because of the auto steering, but I like this one. Yeah, I think this is an 8 out of 10. Next up is Peak Circuit from Mario Kart DS, the best Mario circuit in the series, at least personally. Maybe I should make a video where I rank all the Mario circuits. That's some food for thought, another idea for another time. But for now, let's talk about DS Mario Circuit. One of my favorite ones. I've already talked extensively in my One Track I Want to See Come to the Past and the reaction video that I posted a while back. So I'll just talk about, you know, how they executed these ideas and if they kept the justice that this track deserved. And honestly, yeah, this track got a pretty nice glow up, especially in the second half, where they had a little force section with a wiggler to add a bit more variety to the course, make it stand out a little more compared to the original. And the wiggler pathing is not super annoying. I don't feel like it takes a path that feels inconvenient, doesn't really change too much of the course. It's kind of just there for visual style. There's like 2 shroom cuts that you can take. There's already some strats at the end where after you go off of the ramp, 2 soft drifts, and then you cut the turn deep just like you would in SNES Mario Circuit 3. Lots of cool little things that you can do with the course, and then the piranha plants that throw fireballs as like an extra bit of variance to keep the track interesting. I think they did it all super well. This track is so awesome. I am super excited to play more of it. I'm so excited that this is in the past. 9 out of 10. I gotta give it up for the GOAT. Only a 9 because it's still Mario Circuit. It's still very simple, but it tries to take that simplicity and make it more interesting through its layout, through its, you know, shortcut design, grass cuts, and all that, while keeping some interesting new gimmicks that aren't the change-up. And I think that's what makes this track so cool to me. Third up for the Boomerang Cup is GCN Waluigi Stadium. Personally, I wasn't too big of a fan of the course, so I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, but honestly, I feel like this course translated very well in 8 Deluxe's engine. There was so much more tech on top of the already existing Mario Kart Wii tech that a lot of them stayed intact, except the invisible wall trick tech. They just straight up removed the invisible wall, which I think is really funny because it throws you into a pit, clearly into the off-road, so they were sort of like, okay, we're not gonna let people get the tech. It gives too much of an advantage giving people low airtime. We're just gonna throw them into the stadium and let Lakitu deal with it. And they also made the shroomless a lot easier. You can even drift through it. You can just drive through it normally. It's a very funny option that you can take if you don't feel like going around and getting the item box. And they made the ending section a little easier, which I think was pretty nice. That part was already really weird in Wii personally, so I think that was a good change. I like how they did the DS Wario Circuit thing where they put a alternate little chain road section with some anti-grav boost panels if you want to take that. And they implemented that pretty interestingly by making you go off of the side ramps. So you trick off of those and then you make it on there. Just some cool little variants. One of the things I didn't really like, I'm not sure why they changed the cutout piranhas to angle up instead of just having them go left, right, left, encouraging you to go for the side ramps, because I felt like having an angle like that made it even weirder to go off the side ramps. I guess because the track is a little smaller and you can't really get out of the way as easily as you can in Wii, so they probably didn't want people to go up the ramp, dodge the first one, and then oops, the second one is right there, and then you run into it, and then you lose like 18 seconds because you have to back up, and then you have to rearrange, and then you have to turn all the way around. So I get that, I guess. But overall, it's a nice track. I like some of the visual designs that they changed, like making it into a night course instead of a sunset course. I think the sunset didn't really fit Waluigi. I think the night, blaring stadium lights, the dirt bike, motocross, all of that fits so much better for Waluigi. Yeah, so a buff to the theming, a lot of cool little tricks that you can do on this course. I think this is a clean 8.5 out of 10. And last but certainly not least, our fourth tour course and our third tour city course of Wave 4, and that is Singapore Speedway. This track is really fun to play on. I love the gimmicks that they added. The visuals are so flashy and fun. A lot of the good positives that GCN Waluigi Stadium had, but they really pumped it up. They made this track feel very party-like and really made you feel invigorated just playing through it. You felt engaged, you felt energized, you had a good time listening to the music as you went through the course. I love this remix so much. I think this is definitely my favorite remix in the wave. They made the first lap into a regular, you roundabout, you go around the motions, and then the second and third lap are sort of like sections, so they could show off more of the course, and I think that played off really well. I'm really glad they kept some of the stuff I liked about the course, like the tunnel of lights with the conveyor belts running through. Honestly, such an awesome little part of the course. It's visually pleasing, it has a fun layout, it's got a lot of cool little tricks and stuff to keep you engaged, lots of eye candy, just looking around, seeing all of the lights. Even some of the trickable stuff like the geysers and stuff, those are super flashy as well. This track is so well done. I had a blast playing this one, and I am looking forward to playing more of this in the future. 9 out of 10. So, that's all the tracks in the wave. Now let's talk about the new character, Birdo. So just a quick rundown, Birdo is a mid-weight character. I know there's like sections to the heavy, mid-weight, and lightweight characters. Now there's like featherweights, and then there's like cruiserweights, but just for simplicity's sake, just like how Mario Kart Wii does it, usually very all-around, very standard stat spread. She shares the same stats as Yoshi, which, makes sense, as well as Peach and Daisy. So that's some interesting, fun little trivia. I like how they're taking advantage of probably the models from Tour. They're adding more characters to the pass, because I think that's such a cool little way to get more people excited for the pass, because characters are just really cool. It's like, ooh, I want to play as. So I'm really glad they're doing it, and she is pretty good. There's not really much to say about the characters, because they're not like Smash characters where they have these super in-depth moves and sets. I guess because like the stuff that I can't talk about Birdo, I will bring up in the section after this one, because now we're going to talk about the potential characters to come out next, because we have 5 characters to look forward to in the future. So I guess they're going to do this thing where, to make up for the fact that we're starting these characters now instead of like on wave 1, I guess it's, one for each wave. So they might do like a 1 character for wave 4, 2 characters for wave 5, and 3 characters for wave 6. I don't know how they're going to do it. That's kind of just like the thing I've been speculating. It makes sense, I guess. Distributing how they want to keep the waves going. But yeah, there's a lot of ideas going around. People are saying that Tour characters, people are talking about more Double Dash, Wii, 7 characters that are missing. And they did do this emphasis where they wanted to say, oh, these are past Mario Kart characters. Maybe to like quell the Captain Falcon and Kirby discussions. I don't know, which is kind of funny because, you know, this was like Captain Falcon's big chance to play on his tracks. But oh well. So I'm gonna throw my little theory in the ring just for purely discussion purposes. We'll see where that goes. And I was thinking that it kind of lined up with the characters that were missing and we have models for. Because I feel like the 5 characters that are left, they could do one of each game. Throw in characters that are missing, because I think there's only 5 games that they could pull, except for something like Super Circuit where they could add Donkey Kong Jr. But that's why I like specified models. Again, there's like no basis at all to this theory. I'm kind of just talking for the fun of it. But yeah, if they do something like that, so we already got our Double Dash rep. So we would get a Mario Kart DS rep, a Mario Kart Wii rep, a Mario Kart 7 rep, a Mario Kart Tour rep, and I am missing one. They might actually bring back Donkey Kong Jr. So yeah, if that was the case, I think that would be pretty interesting. And they didn't even bother to make a new model for Mario Kart Tour, so it could be like an extra character. Who knows? Again, there's like nothing to go off of, and who knows, there might not even be a pattern at all. But let's look at, let's do a little mini series. The one character that they could bring back for the Booster Course Pass from each game. So starting from Mario Kart DS, we have only one candidate because everyone that is in Mario Kart DS is a staple to Mario Kart pretty much. So we only have Rob, baby, let's go. I would love to see Rob come back. He is such an out there character. Like, he's not even a Mario character, he's kind of just like a nest toy. Who invited my man? Man thinks he's part of the team. But I think that's what makes him so funny as an addition, and I think he's got a really cool design that fit well in DS and I think would be really fun to see in Mario Kart 8. Seeing his little drift animation as he waves side to side, I would love to see that come back. Next up we have Mario Kart Wii, and there are 2 options I think. We only have Diddy Kong and Funky Kong. Honestly, I think the final slot will belong to Diddy Kong, because I think he deserves it. He's been out of Mario Kart 8 for far too long, bro. Just put him back. And yeah, that kind of just leaves our Mario Kart Wii rep to be Funky Kong. He has only shown up in Mario Kart Wii, has dominated Mario Kart Wii, and he might share the same stats as DK or something if he gets added into the game. So he'd probably be like a top 5 character or something. So that would mean he's viable, baby. Let's go. Funky Kong on the streets once again. If they want to pick someone from Mario Kart 7, this is going to be the funniest selection they could pick, because we have between Wiggler and Honey Queen. Either one I think would just be a super funny joke pick, especially if we get Rob and Funky Kong. I don't care who else gets in the path, just put Honey Queen. If we get Wiggler on the Wild Wiggler, and if we get Honey Queen, we get the funniest joke character in Mario Kart. God, I hope Honey Queen gets like her own stat spread and she's like the best character in the game. So honestly, it's like a win-win for the funny potential. And then there's Tor. There's a lot of characters you could pick from Tor that I wouldn't mind. Like there's Pauline, there's King Bob-omb, there's Charge and Chuck, there's Hammer Bro, there's Ice Bro, there's Boomerang Bro, there's Fire Bro. Who knows, maybe they'll bring some of the Doctor alts as costumes. Dude, imagine if they just put all of the Tor alts into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, just like, you know how you can switch between Metal Mario and Gold Mario. Wait, what? Hold on. What if they do something like where they free up the Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach slots, and then we get 2 more characters? Wishful thinking, of course, but I'm getting sidetracked. I don't know, I think Pauline has the best chance. Everyone's kind of just like picking her as like the one pick. She hasn't seen Mario Kart. I guess neither has King Bob-omb. You know, if I personally was part of the roster, I would put King Bob-omb. I think he needs to be in Mario Kart. I think it would just be so funny seeing King Bob-omb just driving on the streets, taking first place. And yeah, that's like my fun little segment for characters, you know, potential characters that we can see come back, potential characters that I hope we see come back. This session is already 45 minutes, and I'm going to have to edit all of that down. So I'm going to round up this last section, which is talking about the buffs, because this is a very interesting change that they made to the game that has a lot of implications that I thought would be very fun to discuss for this video. Because pretty much the 3 heaviest classes of characters, which is Waluigi, Wario, Metal Mario, those types of classes, they did not get any changes at all. Meanwhile, everyone else either got a speed buff, a mini turbo buff or both. Actually, I don't think anyone just purely got a mini turbo buff. I think everyone got at least a speed buff. And then some extra characters got a mini turbo buff. And that shook up both the time trial and online meta. I'm not in the time trial scene personally, so I can't really speak too much about that, but I think that has its own little muddy consequence. I think Nintendo has been trying to skirt around messing with time trial scores and just like raw stats for the longest time. Because of that, they didn't want to try and influence with some of the existing scores by just making some stuff better. Because some of the stuff they didn't change, like they changed the Coconut Malt cars to work only in Versus, Online, Grand Prix, and they didn't change it in time trials. Probably not to mess with any ghost data and stuff. That would be kind of weird to deal with when looking at online leaderboards, I guess. PBs, looking back at old ghosts. So as an outsider perspective, I don't know how I feel about these. It's kind of weird, because now you just have like the new best baby Bitty Buggy character set now, which is Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Dry Bones, and Small Me. Maybe Baby Daisy still has her niches. Just the fact that there are other new best builds, like we got Rosalina, King Boo, and Link group, now being contender for one of the best, maybe even the new best characters. But online meta, I have to say, I like what they did with it. And I'm not just saying that because they buffed Daisy to be a top 3 group. I'm only saying that because Daisy is now a top 3 group. So some of the changes that they did shook up a lot of the character kart meta, I think. Because now there's like 12 different builds that you can make with each character that rivals Waluigi Wiggler, but are just straight up better, whether it be because of the acceleration, the handling, or the invincibility stat straight up. Because Waluigi Wiggler is still good, so Waluigi fans can still play the character if they want to, but, you know, it really depends on if the stats bother them that much, because the invincibility stat on the new Waluigi Wiggler is the stat of all time, when you can just get the exact same stats on a different character and get a bit more iframes out of that. Really depends on how you want to play, but I'm glad that they didn't nerf Waluigi, because again, that would mess with time trial stuff even more, making existing records unbeatable and stuff, or harder to beat, because, you know, maybe if like more driving strats get included, then that can happen and then you can still beat them. But online meta has definitely gotten more varied. If you still really like Waluigi, you can still use him because his stat spread is still very good. But now you can use other characters like the previously mentioned Rosalina, King Boo, Link, Daisy, Peach, Yoshi, and Birdo. You know, they probably made this buff just so they can make the new character good, huh? No, I think this was something that they've been trying to like skirt around for the longest time by introducing the invincibility stat. And then they kind of just decided, oh, if we're already adding new characters, we might as well just throw the new stat spreads in. I wouldn't be surprised if they just make an all-out new class for some of the new characters. Like maybe Rob, Funky Kong, and King Bob-omb will have their own stat spread. I don't know if Nintendo would take the risk to potentially make Funky Kong good again, because, you know, as much as I think that would be very funny, considering how much they're already trying to claw down on Waluigi Wiggler and just to balance out the meta a little more, who knows? And yeah, those are my 50 cents on the new update. This was a huge chunk of a video. Usually those are just like me ranking the courses, but this was just like a whole update overview. I hope you enjoyed listening to my little theories, my thoughts on the courses, my perspective on, you know, the buffs and the new characters. Hopefully you had fun overall with this little video. Mario Kart videos are now out on the main channel, so if you guys want to check out some more Mario Kart 8 content from me, you can check out the main channel there. And I also post other Nintendo stuff there. But if you like to see like Mario Kart Wii, I post a lot of Mario Kart Wii on this second channel right here. And of course, you can see more discussion videos like these as the new waves come by. I'm planning to do this for all 6 waves, so if you want to stick around for that, be sure to hit the subscribe button for more. And that is it from me. All the plugs are done. Thank you for supporting this little discussion series from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe so far. It's been a lot of fun to make these. It's been a lot of fun to talk about this because it's cool to have an excuse to talk more about it. And with that, I will leave you guys with this huge little discussion video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.